What's going on, y'all, and welcome on in. Today, let's talk about Yulha, the latest hero that was released. I think she looks great. Looks-wise, visually, her sprite, I think, is amazing. Some of my Twitch chat actually didn't like her looks too much. YouTube, you guys let me know how you think she looks overall. But in this video, I mostly want to focus on, is she worth your bookmarks? Is she worth summoning? Number one, she's not limited. Number two, we can't test her in World Arena or RTA, Real-Time Arena, just yet because Smilegate implemented the new feature, which is a good thing, by the way, that if they release a hero at the end of the season, you know, they put them on the ban list just to keep the integrity, you know, don't add a new feature in or a factor into the end of the competitive season. But I actually will talk about her, my predictions for her in RTA, and she'll be able to be used there. But mainly we tested her in Arena, which should also work pretty similar to Guild Wars. Anyways, yeah, let's go over the build, Mola suggestions, just overall thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get on with the video. Alrighty, boys, let's go ahead and open up the Yulha character page, and we'll just talk about her overall stat line. Then we'll get into the artifact suggestions, Molagora, skill things, skill priority, etc. But let's go ahead and look at the stats here real fast. And as you can see, we really just prioritized stacking as much health as possible. The defense is just a bonus. The speed, at least for now, for Arena and Guild Wars, I think is largely irrelevant depending on what you're going to want to be targeting. But mainly, guys, and a lot of y'all know this, our main target with Yulha is going to be opponent Hua-Youngs. Now, it might seem weird to build a unit just to fight one other unit, but if there was ever an existing unit in this game that, you know, had to be answered, that is just so tough to deal with because of how their kits work, how overpowered they are, it's definitely Hua-Young. And Yulha, for me at least, guys, worked beautifully in fighting all types of Hua-Youngs, as well as all types of Hua-Youngs with attack up, with vigor from Conqueror Lilius. No matter what, we survived, and she did her job beautifully. Now, the thing is, a lot of y'all may not be able to reach 34. I'm pretty much at 34k, but this was only, I slapped on as much defense as possible to test the max amount of damage, right? We fought some strong Hua-Youngs that had both attack up and vigor, which is the most damage output she can be having. And we were still able to tank that comfortably. Now, if y'all can just get to 27k ish, if you want to also bring in any additional, like another knight that can support Yulha via Aureus or some other mitigation, then of course it'll also help you survive that too. You don't exactly need this much health, and I know a lot of y'all watching may not be able to reach this because it is, you know, full epic gear that has a lot of health and defensive subs. But if we're targeting Hua-Youngs, guys, the defense is largely irrelevant. And the health portion, right, it's just about stacking raw HP, because how Hua-Young works is she ignores a lot of, you know, she ignores so many mechanics in the game. Her kit is busted. That's why we just need a lot of raw health. But Proof of Valor will definitely help, especially if you're on the lower end of gear. And one other thing, boys, we'll talk about speed here in a second. If you go health boots, I think that will also help out a ton. Okay, the speed, we're going to get a little bit of, and I guess we'll segue into the skill portion here. But Malicious Smile, the skill 2, will give you a lot of CR push right after we proc it, and that's gonna, you know, make up for the speed. That way at least she can get a turn. She's not technically 0 speed, and if you slap on speed set, have any speed subs, it's pretty much always enough to make sure she gets that skill 3 after she soaks up all that Hua-Young plus any random damage she is taking. So to recap very fast, just stack as much health as possible. Defense, if you can get it, it's nice because we hopefully will want to use her just, you know, also to fight other units alongside Hua, but HP is #1 priority because of Hua's, you know, defense ignoring mechanics. Speed, just make sure you have a little bit. This might just be one, guys, you need to test on your own. Maybe some of y'all can get away with 0 speed, but I like having a little bit, which you'll just get straight up from speed set. I almost have no speed subs here, like very, very little. As you can see, 2 here, 3 here, 0 on the neck, 8 on the chest, and a little bit here, along with the speed set, and then the CR push here will allow her to tank the damage and then lead into the skill 3, like I said earlier. And this is the real money maker. That's going to let us finish off the Hua, or maybe even other priority targets, because Hua's already gassed out hitting the Yulha. Just be careful because she cycles so fast back into skill 3, as we all know. Let's go ahead and now talk about the skill selection here. If we're talking about Arena and Guild Wars, which is where most of us are going to be using her, at least for now, I think really the skill enhancements are very, very irrelevant for the most part. If you have, I just did the budget Molas here because I want to save my Molagora for other units at the moment, since we're using Yulha for a very niche scenario. I say niche, guys, but when you're playing Arena and Guild Wars, we know how popular Hua-Youngs are on defense, right? Almost every team runs her because why wouldn't you? She's so good. But even that being said, you know, she's niche in that role that we're only using her for Arena and Guild Wars, targeting out Hua-Youngs, but she's going to have so much playtime there. I definitely don't mind leaving gear on her and putting a little bit of value Molagora. So if we're going to talk about skill priority, let's first start on just the AI or the arena build, and we're gonna just want to get any budget Molagora we can. So you can almost probably get away with 0 if you really wanted to, guys. The skill 1 you don't need at all, because we're really just mainly there just to soak up this initial hits, lead in a malicious smile, and then finish off a target unit, usually Hua Young with Symphony of Agony. And so I just picked up a little extra damage because they're 1 Mola each, no catalyst cost included. The CR push here, almost, guys, doesn't matter. It's the difference between 25% at +5 Molagora or at 20. I just threw in a few because it's cheap. Why not? Maybe that 2% might, you know, help us cut here and there. And the skill 1, I think, guys, if we're just Arena Guild Wars, don't even focus on this at all, okay? So long story short, if we're using her for Arena Guild War, baiting out Hua Youngs, you can get away with 0 Mola. If you want to do what I did, just stack in a few value Molagora or skill enhancements for the skill 2 and the skill 3. Leave skill 1 alone. Now, in the future, guys, once we start testing her in RTA and other areas, I do think we're going to want to at least definitely for skill 1 max out effect chance, right? So that we have 100% provoke. We're probably going to go on counter set as well as Elbrus. That way, whenever anyone is hit, she has a chance to just throw out those redirected provokes, which of course will go on to herself because she'll be the highest HP unit most of the time. This is just a little bit better provoke in case she dies. It'll stay on the target unit or the enemy units. Malicious Smile. This one is still the same thing. We probably want to max it out if we're going to be using her in real-time arena because every CR push helps, but this is probably the least priority. And then skill 3, we definitely want to max out, guys. In RTA, more so than arena, we need to make sure, number 1, you know, we may not get back to cycling the 5 turns here, but we definitely want the damage on the skill 3 because it's very important to land the kill with Yulha, as well as, you know, because of how the interaction works, as well as you just need to kill those priority targets. If they live at 1 health, a lot of times they can sustain and survive. But that's for a separate time. That's just a preview. Overall, though, I can share my thoughts on how I think she's going to shape up in RTA. Guys, we're going to test her on counter Elbrus, like I mentioned. We're going to put in the skill enhancements on the skill 1 and fully on the skill 3. But overall, I don't think Yulha is going to be super amazing. So at least don't take too much stock into it, guys, because until we test it ourselves, you know, it's just prediction based. But I don't think she's going to be that amazing for RTA because, you know, a lot of people compare her to Blue Crow or maybe like Sage Ball with this nuke. The problem is, unlike Sage Ball, who has a lot of control, unlike Crow, who has a lot of support via the S3, the horse does more damage than her skill 3 alongside defense up, and most likely Crow is a lot, you know, we just always run Aureus on Crow, where on Yulha we probably want Elbrus so that we can, you know, stack out these provokes and make sure she's taking the hits. Otherwise, she's very ignorable unless we bring her into big area of effect AoE teams. So I just think Yulha is a little bit of a greedier hero. I don't think she brings any utility to the table besides, you know, potentially just stacking random provokes. Overall, you're better off using another knight like Crow, for example, that also has the same kind of big nuke true damage skill 3. But I do think she might be fun, so we'll definitely test her out. And like I said, this is all just prediction based for now, but if y'all are worried about RTA in the future, number 1, Yulha is not limited, so you can just pick her up later. And second, I think there's just much less greedier knights in particular, or other style units that fulfill the same role. Okay, so we went over the arena build. Right now, guys, let's go ahead and just quickly cover her artifacts and artifact selection, and then I'll wrap up with my thoughts overall if she's worth your hard-earned bookmarks. So, artifact selection, guys. Proof number 1 for budget. Let's talk about the Arena Guild War. We're going to bait out Hua Youngs. Just slap on proof in the beginning, guys. Now, if y'all can get as much health and defense as me, if y'all can get higher quality gear, then you may want to change into something more versatile like Aureus, which, you know, it's on somebody. It's sitting here somewhere, but we all know what Aureus does here. I'll find it for us real quick. It's probably on my Raws, if I had to guess. Yes. Aureus, the damage sharing artifact, right? If we have that on... By the way, Yulha took some of his gear. I'm going to have a Raws video coming out very soon, guys. He's in an insane free-to-play tank right now. But Yulha, if you have enough stats, you can just slap on Aureus. That way, besides just, you know, soaking up damage from Hua, she's also helping the team survive as well, providing that defense and damage share mitigation. But other than that, if you really want to as well, if you picked up her artifact, I do think this is the weakest choice. But, yeah, this will lead us straight into the is she worth it section. But let's go look at her artifact real quick. The Sphere of Sadism. How do I... Here we go. Sphere of Sadism. This artifact, for the most part, will just work as it looks. You take big damage. You get the barrier. You have the barrier from the get-go as well. And you'll just do more damage as long as the barrier's not broken. But remember, her skill 2 can proc it as well. She gives herself a self-barrier. So a lot of times you're just getting increased damage. But there are a few things that can interrupt this. You know, if there's any strips, if there's a DJ Bazaar, if there's unbuffable. Then, of course, we're not going to get that bonus damage from Sphere. So if you let's go ahead and talk about summon priority. I don't think Sphere Sadism is a must-have by any means. I think it's actually a weaker artifact than others, and for the most part, if we're, you know, if we need the damage, I don't think Yulha is really what we're looking for. Instead, we want to survive, maybe bring some other utility to the table. But it is a decent artifact if you have nothing else, guys. And if you just want that damage, you know, just try to have a cleanser or make sure she doesn't have unbuffable. And then for the most part, the barriers will be active and she'll be able to do that bonus damage here. And luckily, you know, there's no RNG factor, so this will work just fine at plus 15. But overall, guys, definitely skippable. You don't need to get it. There's better artifacts straight out of the box, and night artifacts are so powerful anyways, or just do proof if you're going for maximum mitigation. Now, last but not least, is Yulha worth your hard-earned bookmarks? This one's a little bit tricky, guys. Let me go ahead and start by saying most likely you can skip her if you're holding off bookmarks for something else. In the future, it's kind of light on events right now. Next month, we have Sylvian Sage Vivian coming out, so that's an ML5, right? We're going to be using Mystics for that instead. And we're just getting a lot of rerun banners at the moment. But with ReZero already coming out and ending, I do think the Slime collab rerun will be coming out next. And boys, you definitely need to pick up some of the Slime heroes, Milim and Rimu especially. So make sure you have bookmarks saved for that. If you think you can get away with it, if you really like Yulha, I do think, boys, I'm going to be using her all the time for Arena and Guild Wars. Even if she ends up not being great in RTA, it's going to be so nice having this unit that can just straight up just tank out the AI, right? Artificial intelligence of the Hua Young, how the PC, the bot will target us. That's how we call the AI. And just make that clean, kill her off, soak the damage, and then call it a day. People might have to start taking Hua Youngs off their team or come up with some different strats, because she definitely cleans up there 100%. Easily mitigated, kills, sustains herself. Very, very nice. So kind of just gauge how much you guys really like fighting an Arena and Guild War offense, fighting off those Hua Youngs on defense. And if you really like that, definitely pick her up. Just get one copy, skip the artifact. Worst case scenario, you spend 605 bookmarks. Best case scenario, you get her early and you have an awesome Arena Guild War offense unit, maybe with some RTA potential later down the line. But if you're not sold on her, if you're already dealing with Hua Youngs by outspeeding her, using Singelica Luna, for example, or something like that, then by all means skip her. Pick her up later. She's not limited. Save those bookmarks. But I like her. I like her looks. I'm going to be using her a lot in the future, even if it's not for RTA. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's wrap it up there, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.